For over 2,000 years, one woman's story has shaped empires, inspired some of the world's greatest art, and given hope to billions of people. She's a mother, a symbol of faith, and a pivotal figure in the world's largest religion. But who was she, really? Today, we're going to dig into the life and legacy of Mary.
All right, so to really get a handle on her impact, we're going to break this down into 4 parts. First, we'll do a quick introduction, then we'll walk through her story as it's told in the Bible. After that, we'll get into her major theological role as the God-bearer, and finally, we'll look at the incredible legacy she's left behind.
Okay, let's dive right in with section 1 and try to understand just how she became this global icon. I mean, think about it for a second. Who was the most influential woman in all of history? It's a huge question, right? But when you really consider the sheer global impact over thousands of years, you could make a very, very strong argument for Mary. Her story, this incredible mix of humility and world-changing destiny, has connected with people across countless cultures in a way that almost no one else's has. So who is Mary, really? Well, let's take a 30,000-foot view. On the most basic level, she's the mother of Jesus. But she's so much more than that. In the Bible, she's held up as this ultimate example of obedience and trust in God's plan. That alone makes her absolutely central to Christian theology. And then, even outside of religion, she's become this powerful cultural icon, a symbol of motherhood, of grace, and of strength in the face of something truly extraordinary. So where does her story actually begin? For that, we've got to jump into section 2, the biblical story. Her story, as we read it in the Gospels, really plays out across a few key moments, and it kind of starts even before she was born, with prophecies in the Old Testament that many theologians connect to her. But the real turning point, of course, is the Annunciation, when the angel Gabriel shows up. After that, she visits her cousin Elizabeth, and it all leads to the Nativity, the birth of Jesus, a moment that would literally change the course of history. And this is the part that's so crucial, her response to Gabriel's unbelievable news. She wasn't just some passive bystander in all this. Her acceptance is framed as this incredible act of faith, that single moment of obedience, of just total trust and devotion. That's the key to understanding why she's so revered. Of course, she wasn't on this journey alone, right? There are a few other key players in her story. You've got Gabriel, the angel with the big news. There's her cousin Elizabeth, who's the very first person to really get what's happening. And of course, there's Joseph, her husband, who is shown to be this loyal, steadfast partner, sticking by her through it all. Okay, so that's the biblical story. And that story is the foundation for some really deep theological ideas, which brings us right to section 3, the God-bearer. At the absolute heart of Mary's theological importance is this one Greek word, Theotokos. Now, it sounds complicated, but it literally just means God-bearer. And this title isn't just a fancy way of saying mother. No, it's way bigger. It's emphasizing the core belief that the child she gave birth to was actually God in human form. That's a concept with some serious theological weight. And that title, God-bearer, that gets right to her role in what Christians call salvation history. By giving birth to Jesus, she becomes the person through whom the whole story of humanity's salvation becomes possible. It makes her role not just important, but absolutely crucial and irreplaceable. Now, her significance is a huge deal across different Christian traditions, even if the terms they use are a little different. In the Eastern Orthodox Church, she's honored primarily with that title we just talked about, the Theotokos. In the Catholic Church, while that idea is totally central, you'll more often hear her revered as the Blessed Virgin Mary. And for many, her story doesn't even end with the Bible. There's a really important belief held in some traditions called the Assumption. This is the idea that at the end of her life, Mary was taken, or assumed, directly into heaven, body and soul. This belief really elevates her status, suggesting she has a pretty unique place in the whole divine plan. So when you put it all together, the story, the theology, what you get is this incredible, powerful influence that has lasted for 2,000 years. And that brings us to our final section, an enduring legacy. One really concrete way we see her legacy is just by looking at the calendar. There are major holidays or feast days dedicated specifically to her. You have the Assumption of Mary on August 15th, and then there's the Immaculate Conception on December 8th, which, by the way, is a commonly misunderstood one. It's the belief that Mary herself was conceived without original sin. For millions of people, these are huge holidays that keep her story front and center year after year. But her influence goes so far beyond the church walls. she is a true global cultural icon. I mean, for centuries, artists have been completely captivated by her story. It's led to some of the most famous paintings and sculptures in history. She's inspired incredible music, everything from ancient chants to massive classical pieces. And poets, they've written volumes about her quiet strength and her world-changing role. So this all leaves us with one final question to think about. In our world today, which looks so different from hers, what does this ancient story, a story of faith, of radical obedience, and of transformative motherhood, what does it mean for us now? It's a question that's still inspiring people, still sparking debate, and it's what cements Mary's place as one of the most compelling figures in all of history.